Senator, great to have you with me, and congratulations on writing the introduction to The Heart of a Great Nation, Timeless Wisdom from Ronald Reagan.
Thank you for having me on. I know it's been a good year of the Browns for you.
It's a start. It's a great start, 3-1. I can't say that I'm optimistic about your Dolphins, but I certainly believe that, yes, it's the best year since they returned to Cleveland in
We're on
'99.
a different, the Dolphins are are on a different trajectory than the Browns are a couple years ahead of us on the rebuild, but they look good. I'm happy to see that for them.
Thank you. Thank you. Senator, before I turn to the book, the introduction specifically, I want to ask you a couple of current event questions. Number one, there's a new CNN poll out today that says President Trump is behind Joe Biden by 16 points. It's being reported as likely voters. I think that's absurd. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't. Then the body language of the campaign certainly aren't that. No one's going to win this by 16 points. I mean, we're not going to have an election in America for president in the next, and probably the rest of my lifetime, that's going to end up that way. But in the end, these polls are largely, irrelevant. They don't really matter. They're predictive in nature, and if you want to believe it, believe it. But we're not going to change what we're doing on our end, and it's just as simple as that. So. In the end, I mean, polls. This is not that whoever wins the most polls wins the presidency. It doesn't work that way. So let them believe whatever they want.
Now, Senator, the other thing I want to talk about is Amy Coney Barrett. I have a column in the Washington Post this morning that Mitch McConnell is the indispensable man because of the great quartet, holding open the Scalia seat, breaking the filibuster on Neil Gorsuch, standing by Brett Kavanaugh, and assuring a vote for Amy Coney Barrett. I think that saves the United States Constitution, along with the 53 appeals court judges, for the next generation of law. What do you make of my premise?
No, I think it's right. I mean, look, the bottom line is the courts are incredibly important. And here's the thing. Mitch McConnell has done what Chuck Schumer would do if he was the majority leader. He would do all those tactics. The only difference between us doing it and them doing it is you wouldn't have 3 or 4 major networks going crazy as if you're somehow violating the law or doing something. There's no constitutional or legal question here. None. Zero. Zip. But they pretend like there is. But that's the only difference. I mean, that, to be honest with you. And in the end, if Amy Coney Barrett was a liberal and a liberal in people's minds and on the media's minds, right now, I mean, she would be on the cover of Vogue. They'd already been making a movie about her. There all kinds of stuff would be going on about how great she is and so forth. But look, it is what it is. We're going to do what we know is right. We know that there are millions of people in this country that feel the same way and don't care about what other people are saying. She's highly qualified. No one disputes that. She'll have her hearing. We'll see how that goes. And then obviously, there'll be a vote on the floor. And assuming everything is the way I expect it to be with her, given what I know about her and have known about her for the better part of 3 years, I anticipate that she is going to be confirmed and in the Senate, and then the president will appoint her, and she'll take her seat on the bench.
And the buzz among the conference, as you talk to your colleagues, will that happen before the election?
Well, if the plan is to have the hearing next week in judiciary, and then a vote the following week, and then in the committee, and then obviously a week after that, the Senate would come in and confirm it, and that's the plan. Obviously, things can change, and because you just don't know what the next few weeks will bring. But that's the plan, and whether it's before or shortly after, I anticipate it'll be before.
Now, you have a lot of colleagues who are on the ballot. You are not yourself running. Susan Collins in Maine, who I think may have the greatest influence of the Senate of anybody, and certainly a lot of courage. David Perdue in Georgia, Tom Tillis in North Carolina, Cory Gardner in Colorado, Martha McSally in Arizona, Joni Ernst in Iowa, and of course Steve Daines in Montana. How do you feel about holding the Senate right now?
Well, it's going to be a battle. Each state has got its own different dynamic, and in Georgia we have 2 Senate races, including Kelly Loeffler, who's going to end up, in a sort of a scrambled runoff in January. So that one really has got a different structure to it. But these are all great candidates. They're the only people on the planet that have a chance of winning as a Republican. They're all great senators. I mean, really, it's one of these weird things where all these really good senators happen to be on the ballot in a contentious year. They're being outraised, not even though they're raising more than Republicans ever have. The left has mobilized these $5, $10, $15, $20 checks that are not coming from the center. I mean, they're coming from radical left of center groups who have an agenda that they think they can carry out. So, but I think they're all working very hard, and I feel, cautiously optimistic about our chance to win each one, because each one of these races has its unique dynamics, and we've got great candidates in every single one of them with a great story to tell about what they've done in their time in the Senate.
In this new book, The Heart of a Great Nation, which is the quotes and the essays and the quips of Ronald Reagan, you write in the foreword, I think Reagan would join me, Marco Rubio, in believing that the biggest threat to America's values today is our national divisiveness. Senator, I have never seen anything like this weekend. And yesterday, when the president returned to the White House, if I could play for you just a couple of quick clips. Cut number 9, Aaron Burnett on CNN.
So let me start with you, Dr. Reiner. What we're seeing here really looks like it's like something out of North Korea. The dear leader comes out, right, with the magnificent helicopter entrance and up the stairs and off goes the mask as he pauses.
Then I want to go to number 10, Jim Acosta at CNN.
Oh, that's right, Wolf. They'll try to ask him some questions as he comes into the White House. But keep in mind, this is not just the president returning to the White House. This may be patient zero. This is the virus coming back to the White House. And I will tell you, Wolf, having been here.
Now I want to go to cut number 11, Joy Reid on MSNBC.
This is a Mussolini moment. Donald Trump.
Now I want to go to cut number 12, Chris Cuomo on CNN.
He didn't just walk into the White House one time with no mask tonight. He had his video crew capture that stupid scene again so he could put out propaganda, fronting a lie to his people. Once again, just like, don't worry about the mask. Now he says, don't worry about COVID. Don't let it control your life. Just propaganda. That's all it is. I know there's sound to it. I'm not going to play it for you. Why should I? How much bull do you need in your life?
All right, I'm going to play one more. Cut number 13, Don Lemon on CNN.
I don't want to get in trouble, but I have no other way. I got to be honest. It was surprising to me that when this happened, that a lot of people said, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe he has COVID. I think he's faking it. I think he's going to do whatever he can to try to win the presidency. I am, I'm not that cynical. I'm a cynic, but I'm not that cynical.
There's also no proof of him faking it, and the opposite seems to have the preponderance of the evidence.
There's no proof of any of it because he won't let the doctors give the information.
So Marco Rubio, that's a montage of clips, but it's representative of the weekend.
Yeah,
what?
Look, it
Go
speaks
ahead.
for itself. Okay, I mean, people, to the extent they're watching, at this point, the country's become so segmented that the only people watching that are people that agree with them. I mean, that's just a fact. And the other thing they don't tell you, it's a lot of it's show business. I mean, this is about ratings. Simple as that. And these networks have figured out that, you become crazy in one direction and you're gonna have an audience and you can charge advertisers for it. I mean, but it's doing great damage to journalism. I mean, what happens now is it doesn't matter what these networks report on anything. Half the people won't believe them because they think they're liars and they won't listen to them. So it leaves us vulnerable and ultimately leads to divisiveness. There's no news reporting really anymore. I mean, there is, I guess, but no one's really putting it out there. It's not getting all the attention. It's all about narrative. You establish a narrative. This is what I want the narrative to be, and then you collect facts that support your narrative. You ignore the ones that don't, and that's what you promote, and it leads to ratings, and you charge people for advertising. That's what all this is. It's show business. That's what cable news has turned into.
At the same time, in the introduction to The Heart of a Great Nation, you tell people that Ronald Reagan would be shocked that we have become reliant upon our peer competitor, China, for things like pharmaceuticals. When the president was the president, and I worked for him in the White House in 1985 and 86, it was about the evil empire and leaving the Soviet Union on the ash heap of history and the need to tear down that wall. I believe President Trump, Secretary Pompeo, the national security team has challenged China, but I don't know that the American people are as persuaded of China being the same as the old USSR as they need to be.
Well, it's different. Obviously, that was ideological. And the Chinese is more geopolitical. I mean, they want to become the dominant nation on earth and do it at our expense. But it's hurting us in the short term, millions of American jobs. I mean, we have a rust belt in this country because of China and the decisions that were made on our end. And I think this is the first administration that has sort of dealt with it directly. There's a lot of work remains to be done. I can assure you if Joe Biden becomes president, it won't get done. It just won't happen. And so I actually think that there's tremendous support in among Americans across the political spectrum for doing something about China. Obviously, we got to be strategic about it and have a long-term plan to deal with it. But it's going to take a lot of work. But ultimately, look, if Donald Trump is for it, these people are going to be against it. I don't care what it is. It could be the gravest threat in the world. The minute he says he's going to do something, they're going to be the opposite. And,
last 30 seconds, Senator. Is there a lane for someone as optimistic and sunny as Ronald Reagan in 2024?
Yeah, but remember, Ronald Reagan got there. He was governor. I mean, he didn't show up overnight. I mean, the time had to come to him, and that Ronald Reagan was the perfect president for that moment in our history. It wasn't 1976. It wasn't 1972. It had to be 1980. And thank God for that.
Senator Marco Rubio, good to speak with you. The new book is entitled The Heart of a Great Nation, Timeless Wisdom from Ronald Reagan, with a foreword by Senator Rubio. Stay tuned, America.